My name is Shyanne Peterson, and today I'll be giving you a brief history, a look at the figures, and a key analysis of Google. So, their brief history. 1997 to 1998, Google.com was registered by computer science students Larry Page and Sergey Brin, and an unincorporated Google received its first investment of $100,000. From 1999 to 2000, Google really started taking some traction. They received $25 million of venture capital. They released their first 10 languages. They did a deal with Yahoo to become its default search provider, which was huge market exposure for Google. And they became the world's largest search engine with the first billion URL index. From 2002 to 2003, they established a major partnership with AOL. Google News was launched with 4,000 sources, and Google, the word, is voted the most useful term of the year by the American Dialect Society. Lastly, from 2004 to 2008, Google went public. Their initial public offering was at $85 a share. Google Maps, Street View, Google Earth, Google Chrome, and Gmail were all launched, and they acquired the video sharing site YouTube. So here are some of their key success factors. It's limited to 4 here, and they have many, but these are their tops. So number 1, content that targets user search queries. The process of targeting the queries calls for conducting keyword research to determine words and phrases people use when searching, an approximate monthly volume of these searches, and the level of competition for the phrase. Google presents its results to get clicked. So when the page doesn't produce clicks, it gets demoted. This CTR, or click-through rate, gives Google an edge on what their consumers want. They're always catering to what the search user is looking for. 2, wise expansion. Google has had an eye for new ventures and acquisitions outside of the search engine market, but in areas have synergy with its core. An early example of this is Keyhole Incorporated, the company that had first developed what it called the Earth Viewer Suite, purchased by Google in 2004. Keyhole's Earth Viewer has since become Google Earth and Google Maps, which are widely known. They're market leaders, and Google acquired them early on to know what their consumers want, also relating back to the first success factor. 3, commitment to cutting edge. This has meant continuously reworking the basics, creating a universal search, then real-time search, and Google Instant, to make the process of searching for information on the web both more revealing and more convenient for all users. So Google Instant provides suggestions, letter by letter, so a searcher often doesn't have to finish the word he or she is typing in order to find the links or sources he wants. Thus, when you're typing a word on Google, it usually can finish the sentence for you, so you don't even have to finish your thought. Lastly, subtle marketing. Google markets themselves in a way that seems effortless or barely there, but the institution of the Google Doodle is often an example of this under-the-radar marketing. Google's homepage often features simply the letters of the word Google, colorfully displayed. However, you may have noticed that on holidays and other special occasions, it shows a Google Doodle, or a special marketing term used on Google.com to relay such of their message. It's very subtle, it's effortless, it's low budget, and it just makes a better all-around experience for the user. So, Google's search engine current market share. Google has dominated the search engine market, maintaining an 87% market share as of January 2020. The majority of Google revenues are generated through advertising. The company also has expanded its service into mail, productivity tools, enterprise products, mobile devices, and other ventures. As a result, Google earned one of the highest tech company revenues in 2019, roughly $160.7 billion. You can see here Google even became a word on Oxford Dictionary. It's actually a verb. I want to Google this. Hey, could you Google this for me? The market share is that big that it's its own verb. And you can see on the graph illustrated on the left, it's a lot higher than Bing, Yahoo, Baidu, and Yandex. And they've maintained this market share for many years. Here are Google's acquisitions market shares for their respective industries. We see Gmail has a market share of 26%. Gmail is only second to Apple's email platform. Other than that, it would be the first. Then we have Google Maps and Waze, which are both owned by Google. Together, they dominate the market, and they are the market leaders. The same goes for YouTube and Android. In their respective places, they are the market leaders, also owned by Google. Fitbit is also the market leader at 45% for fitness watches, and AdMob is also the leader. And AdMob is a major advertising consulting resource company that actually generates a lot of the advertisements and marketing we see day to day. and their market share is huge at 89%. So more from that, Google's further projects. Google has invested so much R&D and resources into developing further projects, so many of such that we don't even know all of them. Here's a few examples though. Skybender is an internet beaming solar drone designed to stay airborne for up to 5 years. It provides 5G internet, but also takes aerial photographs if necessary, which makes them perfect for situations where surveillance and communications are the utmost necessity, like natural disasters or search and rescue operations. The drone project is run by Google X. Second, there's lenses, and these lenses, designed by Verily, an Alphabet company, are equipped with various sensors that can measure the glucose level in your system or detect if you're intoxicated or a bit feverish. Data collected this way can then be transmitted to a mobile device or laptop for further processing. The lenses themselves need no external power source, since all the energy they require would be provided by the solar cells on their surface. So these lenses actually go in your eye and are a sort of an electronic technology to help users identify if they're feverish or if their levels are off, which is amazing and the first of its kind. Related to that, actually, Google has a spoon that enables patients who suffer from tremors, like Parkinson's, to eat food without spills. It's essentially a stabilizer that reduces the tremor by making a series of counter motions relative to the hand. This means that if a hand moves up, the stabilizer will move the spoon down. Thus, it keeps it in place and keeps it pretty steady. It reduces the tremor-induced movement by an average of 76%. Lift Lab, who has designed this liftware spoon, acquired by Google in 2014 and is now owned by Alphabet under the Google X subsidiary. So you can see Google has a lot going on. A lot of them are helpful to humanity, and they all seem to be on the basis of futuristic and innovative, which is exactly synergetic and cohesive with Google's message. So here's a little bit of their corporate information and culture, making it an extremely fun place to work at. Google's executives, here they are, the CEO, Sundar, the CFO, Ruth Porat, and the CIO, Ben Fried. Google is not a conventional company. We do not intend to become one. That is a direct quote from the CEO, who loves to keep this corporate culture of activity and unstructure alive. So Google is well known for its cross-functional or team-based organizational structure. The traditional corporate structure is to have employees at the bottom, supervisors above them, middle managers above supervisors, and top management above all. This is the vertical approach to management. Decisions are made at the top and orders are sent down to the employees at the bottom. The cross-functional organization structure used by Google is more of a team approach than anything to management. By allowing all employees to be a part of decision-making, Google maintains a small company feel and promotes the notion that all employees play an equally important part in Google's successes. This type of structure places more importance on intelligence and idea than titles. So it's a super innovative and inviting environment. And to compensate their employees, they have free breakfast, lunch, and dinner, free health and dental, haircuts, dry cleaning, nap pods, swimming pools, gyms, video games, physician, all the way even to death benefits. And Google's culture really likes their employees they want their employees to love being at work. They want to keep them at work. So they provide all these benefits that make the work environment so much fun and really encouraging to get things done on the brink of innovativeness. Here's a little bit of an IPO analysis. Despite much hype before their IPO, investors didn't prove themselves as excited as Google initially hoped that they would be. The company ended up pricing their IPO shares at $85, which was the low end of its revised range of 85 to 95. And this range was already considerably lower than its original target of 108 to 135. The first day trading action wasn't nearly as successful as they'd hoped. Google stock opened at 100, which was 17% higher than the offer price, and closed the day at only 134 cents, an 18% gain from the IPO price. So you can see the IPO, the figure on the left, the IPO offering in 2004 was 85, but the current market price is $1,348, which is quite significant, of course. And if you look at the table on the right, you can see if you invested the figures on the left, what you would have now. So if I had invested $500 in 2004 at the time of the IPO, I'd currently have $15,230, which is quite the market increase, and it's only increasing and it's quite steady. So their shareholder structure is a bit different than your more common shareholder structures. So they're noted on the stock ticker as GOOG and Google. The GOOG shares are non-voting, whereas the Google shares are voting shares. These are the three classes. So class A, Google is that of what's representing them. They have one vote each. And Google Class A shares stopped being listed on NASDAQ indices after the quarterly rebalance in 2014, and Google instead will be represented on such indices by the Class C shares. Class B shares of Google stock do not trade on the public market, are owned by Google insiders, and each get 10 votes. So Class B is more for the executives, if you will. And Class C have no voting rights. So every time the company sells a share of Class C stock, it must also convert one Class B share into one Class A share. And anyone who owned Google stock before the split got one share of the voting Google stock and one share of the non-voting Google stock. When the new CEO took over in December 2019, Google stock sustained its value of over $1,300 per share. The company's market cap was over $855 billion, and it employed nearly 104,000 people around the world. So their shareholder structure is a little bit complicated, as you see, Class A, Class B, Class C, but it's basically the dissection of who has voting rights and who doesn't. So let's look at Google and Google top shareholders. Number 1 and 2 are the co-founders or founders of Google that we previously mentioned. So Larry Page is the co-founder of Google and served as their CEO until 2019 when he ultimately stepped down. In April 2020, he held approximately 40.1 million shares of Alphabet Class C stock. He's considered one of the wealthiest people in the United States with a net worth of $53 billion, all based on these shares. Sergey Brin, the other co-founder of Google and a board member, served as president of Alphabet, Google's parent company, until December 2019. He's currently the shareholder with the second largest stake, behind Larry Page, of Alphabet Class C shares, holding approximately 38.9 million shares. This makes his net worth $51.1 billion. Third, Vanguard Group Incorporated. They're one of the largest investment advisors in the US, and they held about 6.2 trillion in assets under management as of January 2020. They hold about 22.6 million Class C shares of Google. This is a massive amount. And the fourth, BlackRock. You may know BlackRock. They're a global investment management company and the largest asset manager in the world. They offer a wide array of mutual funds, closed-end funds, and the popular iShare line of ETFs. They hold approximately 20 million Class C shares of Google. And here's such a little bit of figures to get the full user base. So they have 250 and growing Google acquisitions. They have 70 offices in 50 countries, 160.7 billion total 2019 revenue, largely made up of advertising revenue, which in itself amounted to 134.8 billion, and 103,549 Google employees. Their entire user base is predicted to be somewhere between 1 and 1.5 billion. Of course, this is a huge fraction of the world, and Google's assets and resources are only increasing and steady and beloved, which makes Google a really exciting company to follow for their innovativeness and their user-friendliness. So Google is definitely one to watch. We see them grow every year. And we see them also partake, as mentioned, in humanitarian endeavors, aside from just being the ultimate search engine as well. So yeah, that is it. Thank you for listening. I appreciate it.